Okay, so not ideal. Lost the power steering line. Let me tell you what happened. Alright, so I'm not going to do a how-to video on how to replace a pipe, but I am going to rant and complain a little bit about how this thing has been put together. Alright, so the major issue is that Chrysler, where they do sell kits for the power steering lines, the power steering lines that are directly on the rack and pinion of this Jeep are not sold separately. They're sold as the kit for the power steering unit. So the hoses, the transfer lines for the power steering fluid that are on the rack and pinion, I can't seem to find those separate. So what did I have to do? I had to spend $500 on an entire power steering rack and pinion on account of one 6-inch section of hose. Let me show it to you. Okay, so here is our section of hose. It was leaking right around here, and it sprayed fluid all over the bottom of my truck, and basically took out the whole steering for the truck. So it connects right to here. This is the fresh power steering unit. It covers this area right here. So this goes there, and this pops into there. So on account of this one hose, I needed to buy all of that. Now, normally if there was more than one problem with the power steering unit, I would have just happily ate the cost of it because I don't need other things to be breaking later on, and it just have a cascade of issues. But in this one instance, it's literally a 6-inch piece of pipe. So what am I going to do now that I've got a fresh rack and pinion? So the main issue becomes a matter of time. I just don't have the time to seek out a new pipe for it. I've been around to all the auto parts store, including the dealership, and even the dealership said that they only sell it as a complete unit. So the Jeep being my daily driver, I needed to be on the road for Monday. It's a holiday weekend. Luckily it broke on a holiday weekend, I suppose, so now I have a 3-day weekend to fix it. However, it being a holiday weekend, a lot of places are closed. I have gone around and looked around at every auto parts store around here. They do not sell that single pipe. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to look online to see if I could find that single pipe, maybe from like a niche hydraulic manufacturer, and see if I could get it that way and replace this and just put this whole rack and pinion aside in the event that I need this thing in the future. But as it is right now, time is of the essence. I need to have this thing fixed for Monday morning. So I just pulled that one pipe, and I'm gonna, just get that thing put back on and call it a day. So with a combination of just pulling off the air bellows and the air intake off the top, I was able to start to thread it in from the top here. You can see it right there in the corner. It's the only shiny thing that's there. Focus. And the rest of it, you can see a little bit of the shininess down there. That's the rest of the pipe going underneath. And let me see, and that's it connecting into the power steering rack and pinion. So basically that was the single most expensive hydraulic line I've ever replaced on a motor vehicle ever. You would think that this was like an aircraft, and it was Lockheed Martin prices selling something to the government. It's not. So little rant that this is a complete annoyance that it is like this. It should not be like this for such a simple part. These should be easy to replace. Oh, and one more thing. So I did go to the auto parts store and see if I could just flare it myself using a stock pipe that they had there. And this thing has a weird flare on it, which is like kind of a double flare. It's fluted a little bit at the end, and then there's like a big wider diameter flute behind it. And yeah, you can't just do that. I mean, maybe you can, I can't. Even with a flaring tool, like I just don't see how you could do that. So the piping is kind of specialized, and I don't like that. I don't think it needed to be built that way, but it is. So yeah, $500 pipe. That was awesome. Now I will add that this is a lot less time expended compared to just replacing the entire rack and pinion. this calls for like a 7-hour job to replace this, and I could kind of see why. It's attached to it looks like the engine cradle or the subframe of the vehicle, and I'm gonna need, you know, to pull a lot of stuff out to make this actually happen, where I just needed that one darn pipe replaced. Such is life. But it's back on now. I got to replace it with the specialized hydraulic fluid because this has an electric pump on it. So replace all that. Hopefully it's not leaking, and hopefully I can get this thing back running again. Okay, and hey, just for a quick reference, to pull these bolts, you're going to need a 12 millimeter for either side of these, and a 21 millimeter if you're pulling from the center here on this piece. Not that I really recommend doing things this way, but if you're stuck and you're under a time crunch like I am, and you got to spend the $500 for a stupid pipe, that'll save you a couple of seconds of time there. It's 12 millimeter and like 21 millimeter to turn these bolts. So hopefully that helps. One other thing, guys, the power steering fluid in this is electric hydraulic power steering fluid 11655. You want to take a screenshot of that, and this is what I use for it. I've had to do work on the power steering before, so I had a little bit of extra lying around. So be advised, don't use the regular stuff. It's going to need this. So ultimately, more specialized does not mean more better. Things like this should be general use, and they shouldn't have such specialized parts in it that only can be bought as a full kit. This is a pipe, and it doesn't need to be that way. Okay, let's see how bad this is going to be. Well, let's start it up. Well, so far no weird sounds. Actually sounds nice and quiet. All right. Okay, so the pump seems to be pulling it from the reservoir. I can see it bubbling. We're just gonna add a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up to the max full line. And what we're going to do is we're going to steer to the left and right and see if we can make that reservoir go down a little bit more and fill up the hydraulic lines. Alright, yeah, so it sucked down quite a bit. So we're going to fill it up with a little bit more and go from there. Alright, it seems to be holding stable at the max fill line. We're going to do a quick check to see if there's any new leaks. I don't see any. Check underneath for some new leaks. Again, I don't see any. I got a big puddle here that my wife is going to be pissed off about, but it couldn't be helped because it broke before I realized it was leaking. So, sorry wife. But yeah, no leaks, so I guess it's fixed. Alright, so generally speaking, this vehicle's been like super reliable for me. It's got 171,000 miles on it. It's the 3.6 V6 in Grand Cherokee. I mean, like ultimately, like it's, you know, it's small aggravations, but aggravations nonetheless. I do like this vehicle, and you know, I'm gonna try to keep getting mileage out of it so long as there's no catastrophic failures. Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, comment, and subscribe, I guess. Yeah, I hate things like this. I hate when these things happen. Get down in the comments and rant about your car complaints, I guess. Yeah, just complain. Just complain in the comments section. I feel like complaining today. What a pain.